And I mean the relationship between the telco and the user and the role that blockchain can play in that context is, I would say, somewhat intuitive and easy to visualize, if I were to put it
Yes.
that way. But I have a lot of questions related to the part that you mentioned about, the blockchain doing the work at the edge, then at the center. My fundamental point is how much of overhead does this blockchain or hyperledger based authentication add to the network? Because that's a major deal in RAN. They're all very impervious to any change because they are scared that their performance will take a hit. So what are your observations on that?
This is true. Performance, I agree. The reason is then we have to understand more, right? For example, once we talk about performance, because
Mm-hmm.
this is a consortium network, right? This is
Mm-hmm.
not, first of all, a public blockchain or kind of network, right? Within the telecom, it's easy. Performance will not be that much affected. Why I'm saying this? Because of course it's a consortium. You're not dealing with the public. The idea is not to make it more decentralized. The idea
Mm-hmm.
is to make it more centralized, but with trust. So once we see blockchain, it should say that it should be decentralized. But once we come to the enterprise blockchain or consortium blockchain, idea is to make it more centralized, but with trust.
Mm-hmm.
So so once you are not decentralizing your network, then the cost will not affect for sure. Means the
Mm-hmm.
whole cost in blockchain is of to making more decentralized, right? That is
Mm-hmm.
why Ethereum also shifted their consensus mechanism to proof of stakes. The reason is so that they can reduce the gas fees, right?
Okay.
So once you are making centralized and within the telco, that's not a issue, much issues, right? Of course, there will be a cost involved, of course, but not a delay cost, right? Because you are managing a network, right?
Okay.
Which is
Okay.
not live in the sense that because you are using that network for particular things, for example, SLA breach, for example, for CDRs. So it's not live as such, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then you can settle all these things within 2 days or 3 days. Now, let's suppose compare to months or sometimes years.
Mm-hmm.
So as such, in the live network, it will not affect much, right? Not at all.
Yeah. Okay.
But of course, there will be a cost involved, which is managing this network. But although this is a central network, that's why cost will not like shoot up like a rocket, but it will be remain in control.
Mm-hmm.
But once the good thing is, but if you are making this use case for the users as well now, you are
Mm-hmm.
opening up the network, a separate network, let's say. We are not talking about telco network, blockchain, but a network where your users can also come in.
Mm-hmm.
And to make it more trustworthy, now you are adding public blockchain as well. So
Okay.
this kind of hybrid blockchain network might cost a little bit more in terms of latency. It can add latency for sure.
Okay.
But this kind of network is hard to believe right now because currently we are in the phase where telco first they should adopt more on the blockchain side, and then once they are comfortable with this, then they will release it to the public network as well. So
True.
that will be a hybrid blockchain, and that will might add some latency in the networks, but that's okay because that's the idea. Means trust what do you need, right, as a customer, to more trust or more latency or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So this kind of hybrid network, it might add. That's my opinion, and this telco networks will not add much latency in the network for sure. Whether you are putting this on edge or on the central orchestrate or somewhere.
Okay. I'll give you a very specific scenario. So now we have this Open RAN, thought, which is in various stages of adoption, and there is an RIC where you have these XApps and RApps. Now consider a situation where there is a single telco network with a single RIC, say from you know mm, Capgemini or anybody basically. And then you have these various XApps which are going to tune or tweak the network performance. Does the blockchain have or Hyperledger have any role to play in such a scenario? Because you have a sort of a vendor marketplace sitting on top of your RAN, which is trying to tweak the RAN performance. Have you visualized any such scenario,
Yeah.
any such use case?
Yeah, so we visualize all these things in our SIG calls that this can be a possibility,
Sorry.
right? So especially in ORN, if you see there, I forget about working group number. I think working group
Ooh.
three, 2 or 3.
Okay, maybe.
So they have one use case on that how you can implement blockchain and things.
Okay.
Actually, we visualize that how we can use this working group, how we can work with this working group so that we can also push things. That's what we are working on. But parallelly, we are also working on, that's what you said, that there's a marketplace and things. So we have one interesting 2018 or 19, one of our member published a paper or talk, or sorry, a talk in one summit, something in Linux Foundation stuff, which says that how you can use blockchain in ONAP, right? And
Okay.
if you see this, so because in OSC, if you go in OSC, which is Orange Software Open RAN Software Community, or OSC. So
Okay.
OSC is by default taking ONAP as a SMO, right? So once you have a ONAP, and then you can visualize, okay, if I can push a blockchain in ONAP, which is SMO, and anyhow you are publishing all your accepts in SMO, which is the idea, right? And then how you can use this SMO things means, of course, there's a marketplace, and it's a very different thing, because SMO, let's suppose, is from one vendor or things, where your accepts can be published in a marketplace, and then, but this is, you have to send some information to your SMO as well, so that we can manage our local registry as well, because something happens, let's say some breach happens, then where should we go? So managing one thing, at the top level, it's okay. That's what means. In the simple term, I can say this is a marketplace with a orchestrator blockchain where they are putting everything at one place, but they are also managing local blockchains as well. So that consensus can be achieved with different vendors. Like, for example, in that case, at edge, you have a different, let's say, RFs or things at the, or you can do what at edge also, you can manage a small blockchain. So there's a concept of blockchain as well, whether you are managing full node and what kind of nodes, right? So it is not needed that you should manage a full node at edge. You should not manage, because of course you need a hardware and things which we don't want at edge. And then not running a full node at edge, and then running a full node at SMO level, and then at the marketplace level. So this will add a trust, right? So that, of course, in the live network, there will be no latency. Why I'm saying again and again, because this is a separate network, right? Which calculate things, which stores things, and you can use these networks whenever you need it, right? For example, once in a week or twice in a week, or so, based on your use case, right? So some people always confuse that, okay, means it will add latency, it will do this, it will do this. So don't use initially, means if you have some, as a telco operator, if you have some doubts or something, just put it, use it, and then you will realize that, okay, we are not using it in the real networks, right? We are just storing and then managing it for a particular use case, for
Basically,
infringement
it
or
is not real time. It is offline, and
something.
it is polled basically
Yes,
regular
exactly.
intervals and
Exactly.
verified. Okay, yeah, that I get that. We
And
are
this
running.
is how adoption happens, right? Adoption cannot be pushed in,
Yeah,
no telco operator will push it in the live network.
that's true.
No,
That's true.
right?
That is
So they should
because
test it with the separate things as a network, and then use it, then see the use cases better, then they visualize it, and then the adoption will happen, right?
true, true, true.
Yeah.